Hi, what's the importance of healing your sexual trauma and wounds? And did you know that at least half of the global population did experience sexual assault, rape, or something related to that? Is actually walking around with a sexual wound, a sexual trauma, and is experiencing more side effects from this than probably realizing it. Like, subscribe, and share. Hi, my name is Lotfi Murat. In today's video, I'm going to talk about sexuality and sexual wounds and how these wounds and trauma affect our lives in more ways than we often can imagine. So, let's start with some background. We are all born with sexuality. Some of us have it very strongly present, and some of us barely feel it. Not feeling it does not mean it's not there. Not feeling it does not mean it's not impacting your life, positively or negatively, or at least influencing your decisions. Even people who have dedicated their lives to something very specific, like a monk or a nun, do experience sexuality, do act in certain ways due to their sexual energy. This doesn't mean that they're going around doing things. No, their behavior is influenced. What they feel is influenced. This can be positive way, it can be negative way, it can be neutral. It's all okay because we do carry in us light and darkness. And often the darkness is there because there are things we need to learn. The darkness we experience in our lives is to gather life lessons, is to evolve. I myself was sexually assaulted at the age of 7, or not even 7, just before 7. And I always thought like, I was lucky. I ran away, not too much happened, so I was lucky, especially when later hearing all these stories from women getting raped and later even from men getting raped by other men or by other women. Because rape and sexual assault happens all directions. Men assaulting women, women assaulting men assaulting men, women assaulting women, adults assaulting adults, adults assaulting minors, and in some cases minors assaulting adults. Oftentimes it's not really the little children, although children also can start to experiment and do their research and can be curious. But most of the time is if it's a minor assaulting an adult, it's a teenager with all those hormones going through their bodies and having all those fantasies and desires and needs and wanting to do certain things. So what I didn't realize was that what happened that day did impact my life in ways unimaginable. I mean, today I can imagine because I went through it, I saw it. So now when I look at other people, when I look at my clients, I can see where the impact is sometimes, where they don't see it yet. And I wanted to say I barely get shocked from what people tell me, but still sometimes like, whoa, I knew it was bad, but didn't know it was so bad, or it was so common, or also in those circumstances, in those situations, or those places or locations or countries or circumstances. But my role is not to judge. It's far from that. When I realized I had a problem, like really consciously realizing it. I mean, I knew it for a long time, but like really admitting it to myself and then out loud to one person. That was when change could really start to happen. And I was still judging myself, judging the things I was doing, even if I was losing control, just like a drug addict. It's easy to judge a drug addict, but once the addiction takes over, you lose control. You become like a puppet, and there is someone or some energy holding the wires and making you move forward, do things, or not doing things that you would like to do or supposed to do. But the nice thing is that the first person I told was my, by then, 8-year mentor. I mean, he had been my mentor for 8 years, and I told him. And obviously he knew already. He didn't say it. He just said, mm-hmm. And then I knew, like, yeah, he knew. He never said anything. He didn't judge me at all. He was just there holding space. And he helped me, he guided me. And then the next person I told, that I felt safe enough to tell, did the same and guided me in a different way, helped me in another way by sharing his experience. Actually, it was a she. And it took me a while before I really started to get control back over my life, control back over my addiction, my urges, my needs. And this was only possible because I found the right people to interact with, to talk with, to get guidance from, and some to coach me. And I worked on healing the wounds. And the healing process and the transformation took time. I had a breakthrough in 2012 where I saw, I understood, and I felt this huge load dropping off my shoulders. But then the real work started. How do I continue from here? It's like when you have a breakthrough, you break through the wall, and then you're on the other side of the wall and the world is completely different there. What do you do? This is also the reason when I work with people, I do not do one session. In generally, when I coach, I don't coach with just one session. But when it comes to sexual trauma, I refuse. You either book a package of 5 sessions or not. That's it. Because you may have your breakthrough in the first session, but the most important thing is the implementation. Practice leads to mastery, they say. But in this case, it's not just to master control over yourself. No. It's to dig and to find the root source within you and work from there. Yes, there is the event or multiple events that happened. Those wounds need to be healed. You don't need to relive them, but we will transform them. Sorry. You don't need to heal them, but we will transform them. And from there, the perspective on life will start to change. And this transformation its first step can be stopping to judge. Judge yourself for having been stupid to get yourself in that situation, or just judging yourself where there was no way you could have prevented it. Maybe you even are traumatized because you are the offender. You may have been the one doing something that somebody else didn't consent to, and you feel guilty about it. Also, there is a wound that needs to be healed. Most of us have at some point hurt somebody, sometimes really badly. Most of the time it was not intentional. It was unconsciously. Or we did the best we could do at that moment with the knowledge and the life experience we had. And you may say, okay, but I just don't think about my sexual trauma, so it's not an issue for me. I have full control of my life. Well, if you say that, then I'm laughing at you, because nobody has. And if you believe that not having dealt properly with such a thing and healed the wound, then it may even have a bigger grip on you than you even realize. The first step to resolving a problem is admitting that we have a problem. And if you're watching this, you probably already admitted, otherwise you wouldn't have been watching till now for 12 minutes. So the importance of dealing with your sexual trauma, healing your wound, is to lighten up your life, to not have the impact spread out throughout your life, like causing certain kinds of addictions, compulsive behavior, lack of trust in people, lack of trust in yourself, sudden fear popping up, freezing in certain situations, feeling sadness, pain, maybe not even properly remembering what happened, but just knowing something happened to you. Some people, they have no memory of what happened, but they just know something happened. And they can even say, like, I was that age, or I was there, and these people were the only ones around. Well, there's also energetic rape that can happen, even without the person knowing that he does that. Or a person having this crazy thought crossing his mind while being around someone. And it's often around very young children that this can happen. And then this person, like, oh, what is this thought? Ah, get away. But the energy was already transmitted. And I've encountered several people who experienced this. Who experienced that it happened to them, but also who have experienced it themselves happening through them. And they were like, no, this is crazy. And realized that this was not their energy, it was just a dark energy coming through them. And they were like, no, fuck off. Yeah, nice choice of words, right? But then it happened. And then the infant is harmed. And the infant has the wound and needs to deal with it. From a very broad perspective, there is a good reason for that, because apparently that child needs to live through certain things and is maybe somebody who wants to be a healer, wants to be somebody who helps people resolve these issues. So he needs to get through it himself. Maybe that was what was decided before incarnation, like for me. I believe that this is one of the things that was planned for my life. Me being an empath, being able to feel people, to connect with people easily, I had to go through this with a total stranger doing that thing to me, and then my life starting to move forward till I came to the point where I'm now, when I do help people, men and women, to resolve their sexual issues, to heal their wounds and their traumas. And I can tell you that since I've started very consciously working on this, my life started to change gradually. And I went from being a caveman who would scan every woman sexually, like a robot, and checking, is she a potential mate or not? Just like animals do. That's why I call them cavemen. To now being able to see really beautiful, sexy woman and just like, wow, really beautiful woman, or like, wow, she's really sexy. And then move on with my life. Not feeling the desire and the need to. It's like some people when they see cookies or pastry, when they pass by a pastry store and like, and they need to go and buy and eat. And other people that look like, wow, this really looks delicious, but not today. I don't need that. And this is not just for men that this happens. Also women can be completely like this. Just that society's not talking about. Men are the bad guys, the hunters, the rapists, the whatever. And women, oh, they're always the poor ones and the victims and so on. But there are plenty of women who rape men. But then society is set up in such a way that the man is even ashamed to talk about it. Just like men also can get beaten up by women. Not only women by men. You may ask like, wow, why? Why is that? Because we all have both masculine and feminine energy in us. We both have light and darkness in us. So anybody can do anything. It just seems to be more common for a certain gender to do certain things and the other gender to do other things. But to resume all this, whatever happened to you, whether you're really conscious about it, you remember it or not, and you just feel that there is something in you. Hell, maybe even inherited from one of your parents. Then resolving this will transform your life, will make your life easier, will make many negative aspects of your life, many blockages or slowdowns in your life disappear. I've already worked with many women and men on sexual issues, and I've seen their lives transforming, not just their sexual life, but also their regular life, their professional life. Because sexual imbalance, sexual wounds do affect our productivity, our strength when it comes to action, not just physical, but also emotional. It can affect our ability to earn money, to be successful. And most of all, it would be nice not to throw our trash on other people. Like having your trauma and then having a child and then projecting your trauma on the child, making your child being afraid of certain things because you experience something. So your child should be afraid of anything that even looks similar to that. Maybe you're just afraid of men, and then your child also becomes afraid of men. Or if it's a son, becomes ashamed of being a man, and so can also not function normally. So please, take care of yourself. Take action. Heal your wounds. Work on it. Find some guidance. Work with me or somebody else. But do something. For your sake first, but also for the people that you interact with. I wish you a wonderful day and hope to see you soon. Like, subscribe and share.